Hi, this is Lynn Schnebley with Educating with Wisdom, and I'm the ambassador for Heaven's creating and protecting goddesses and archangels over life. What if Barack Obama was really behind what happened on January the 6th? Let's go in and take a look at the Boeing catastrophes, because I've already said before that God pointed a hand at Barack Obama and the Ethiopian, I don't want to call it Black Lives Matter group. I don't want to say that because Black lives do matter, as do all lives. But I want to say that it is a particular group of people that are radical, misogynistic, and that they are linked up with other radical and misogynistic groups. So I'm not looking at normal men who are African American who want what they feel to be justice, or women, I'm not looking at this. I'm looking at a radicalized misogynistic group that is both white and black, that is male, and it's also gay. So when we take a look at the droppings of the Boeing 737 MAX A, and both the one in Ethiopia and the one that happened in Indonesia in 2018. It happened, the first one happened when I said to God, God, this was after the Tree of Life was hit. And they were blaming a white supremacist crazy person. Just like a few days earlier, they had blamed the pipe bombs on a white supremacist crazy man who was a Trump follower, who was clearly photoshopped into different pictures that they showed, and who was clearly, he was a male stripper, dancer, these who traveled with other men. These tend to be engaged in homosexual bars. They're fabricating the whole thing of Trump being a racist, and I said earlier that they simply took destroy Whitey, that was destroying Hillary Clinton, into destroy Trump, because Trump is also white, and destroying me. It's all gross. That's what it is. So let's go in and take a look at some of the similarities, because you're going to say, well, what does that have to do with the January 6th shooting? Well, they knew that the Republicans were going to try to get a stay. They keep waiting for me to get my case out. I keep doing the research that they need. But what happened is that the groups that were most involved in that were these male misogynistic groups, and they are like cells that are being brought together to work against this, because the last thing they want is research like mine coming out. But they also didn't want Trump to be able to go forward with anything, or to have anything be questioned. So let's go in and just look at the planes for a moment. Come out of me. I think I can come out of me. This went down. This is not, let's go back to the first Boeing that went down here. If we notice, they all have lions on them. Boeing means farmer, and this has to do with the actual Adam and Eve story, and I have the farming. This is what I've been arguing all along. Notice there is the lion in the back, and when it went down, I did not know that Barack Obama, it dropped the same way I had dropped a few weeks earlier in church when my priest there just did this horrific sermon and did not deal at all with the actual creation and the necessity of farming. In fact, he missed the whole thing about marriage, about farming. He didn't discuss any of it. And I dropped the same way the plane dropped. It's like somebody shut off my electrical system, boop, and I went right down and actually had to go into the hospital. This is already online. But when they hit the Tree of Life, I thought, I am so tired of being hit, and I am so tired of them being hit. I said, hit them and hit them hard. Well, within a day, this came up. The next day, there was a slight glitch, and the next day went right down. Notice that the Lion of Judah, the lion for Barack Obama, and his panther. I'll get into the fires. The two major fires on Trump's birthday in the UK were about fire Trump. They did that 2 years in a row. Here's the Ethiopian. There I was having dinner with a man, I'm going to call him my LGBTQ stalker, who later told me he wanted to be a tranny. Anyway, he removed my text messages, which he had sent from my phone. As I was discussing this with him and told him how it went down, within hours, within 6 hours, and I have this on my text messaging to him, within hours, look at, there's another lion here. The Ethiopian went down, and that let me know of the Lion of Judah movement. And of course, he had his slaves. He had black slaves. He sold people into slaves. It was a mess. Now let's go in and see the next one. This is the flight that just went down. Another Indonesian flight. I did not know Barack Obama was Indonesian until 2018 when that flight went down. I did research on his citizenship, and he was, yeah. And Muslim and Jewish people, and that all of them are using gay men to help support misogyny. But notice red, white, and blue here. So this Indonesian who went down right after that, again, we have the red, white, and blue going down. Well, this Indonesian is in the United States, and it dropped the same way. And again, it's a farmer. So it's the farmer taking the hit. And it has to do with the wicked paradigms of the Abrahamic religion. Wow. Okay. So, Barack Obama, and he treats, these are cells, and it's an all call. And I'm not saying the average person in Black Lives Matter and the average person in the women's rights matter aren't aware of what's going on. They're not aware of this link up and how these misogynistic men, regardless of their traditions, use gay men to really destroy women. And when I saw what happened, what was really interesting about this is that I'm sort of following the certification. I have other things to do, so I'm listening and I'm following, and I followed the procedure that I read up on it, that they had to go out and talk about it for 2 hours, discuss it after a full opposition has been put out. Well, they took 3 breaks that I was aware of. So one break would have been to discuss that one opposition for Arizona. Then I guess there was a break for lunch. I don't know. But they did another break. And I thought, that's really weird. Why are they breaking like this again? And when I saw the lack of police and these highly misogynistic men, these playboy, what are they called? Proud Boys. Oh my God, what a group of misogynists. And I'm looking at the misogyny from the LGBTQ, the gay men, and I'm looking at the misogyny from the transgender men that are taking over women's sport. I mean, I'm just looking at the misogyny of men. It's incredible. So this is really about male domination and misogyny has nothing to do with Trump. And the fact that I said, let Hillary Clinton and Trump be co-presidents and let them have that 3-year moratorium to out what's going on and let no one be charged. And they took me up on it. That's why Epstein was brought in. That's why Maxwell was brought in. That's why the prince was brought in. But Barack Obama and all these people, they were shutting everything down left and right. And finally, to close, one of the people that I tutor, I was listening to her social studies lecture, who is such a wicked man. In fact, I have him online. I taped it. As on that day, as this is happening, going down, he has on his video, and he's been talking so badly about Trump and the conservatives, and I'm just gonna, he has Imagine Dragons, and of course I'm deeply against dragons. And this particular gay person is married, and his husband is African. They're from Canada. And he comes up with all kinds of wacky things. He's my age. He left his wife with 4 kids to be gay. He lives in Fort Lauderdale. He's extremely militant. I've never heard anybody talk like this in the classroom when I was a teacher. It's not African American. It has nothing to do with being African American. But he had Believing, and at the end of Believing, he talks about how they're born this way, and he talks about shooting with guns. And I thought, that's what was going on at the White House. These are highly misogynistic men, and it's not Trump. It's also not Biden. These are puppets. Remember, it was the Yale clinic, the research clinic, under Yang Xiang and the CNN reporter for Yang Xiang that broke that story about the virus. This is all HIV work. This is all gay. And misogyny. It's really about misogyny. When in November, I think it was November the 20th, I can't remember the date, in the UK, when the women in the UK had organized to have a day of protest of violence against domestic violence against women, the police force in the UK and transgender men to women had a day of ceasing violence against transgenders. And the police force backed the transgender group, but refused, the police force, and I guess the government, backed the transgender group, but didn't back the women against violence. And the women's group in the UK said that in the course of that year, there wasn't one transgender person that was killed, but 108 women had been killed by domestic violence. This isn't about Black Lives Matter. This is about grotesque misogyny and a male-dominated system. And that's what Elon Musk with his dragons and everything is really about. He's not about fixing the planet. He's about destroying it. Anyway, I'll say bye. Remember, it wasn't Trump that called these highly misogynistic men in there. And I am not telling you Trump is right or perfect about anything. None of them were. But the fact that they brought Epstein down, all these people down, all of these politicians came up ready to have their 3-year moratorium to let things out. And it is Barack Obama with Michelle Obama and his penis and all of these, but they're all linked to polygamy, and the polygamy that's found in Islam, the polygamy that's found in, it's terrible because they use homosexual men to prop up these highly misogynistic systems. Okay, and they do it in the Orthodox Church. They've used it in the Catholic Church. It's terrible. You know, you should see the actual reading of the Bible in Hebrew. Oh my God, and in Greek. Totally different. All right, bye.